Hey everyone, this is Linda from brewernymph.com coming at you with another edition of Let's Get a Beer Florida, October 21st edition and into next week. First of all, we're going to talk about some things that happened over the past week. We'll talk about things coming up this weekend, next week, and a few looks ahead into some things coming up later in the year even. So I've got some news, got some events, and a way that you can win a free beer from me sometime today, October 21st, around the Jacksonville area. So let's get going with that. All right, first of all, thanks for watching. This is also on brewernymph.com and YouTube. So for you watching this on social media, this does get cut after a couple of minutes, and you can watch the full video on those channels I mentioned and see what's going into next week, because you're not going to see that if you don't watch the whole thing. Okay, anyway, here we go. So this week I was in Chicago for the NLCS game at Wrigley Field in Chicago. What a great experience that was. The Cubs even won that game. Unfortunately, if you're a Cubs fan, they didn't win the NLCS. So whoever your team is in the rest of the baseball playoffs, good luck to you. And like the Sun Times said, for Cubs fans, there's always last year. All right, anyway, very cool experience. Loved being at Wrigley. Now, not only did I go to Wrigley, of course I hit some breweries while I was out there, right? Have to do that. So stayed out at O'Hare, took the Blue Line trains all over the place, didn't even need a car, just went around to all kinds of places. First of all, I went to Old Irving Brewing in Chicago, right off the Blue Line on Montrose. Had a great time there. Took a video of the flight of beer that I had. If you hadn't seen that, check that out on Instagram. Had all the beers lined up. It was way cool. Not only does the place have good beer, but they've got awesome food. Their head brewer co-founder is also a trained chef. Now, I'll be writing a whole summary about this and more on that. But cool place, enjoyed the visit a lot. This is an Oktoberfest, which I did not have while I was there, so I am really looking forward to this. Thank you, Trevor. I also went to a couple of other breweries out there in Chicago, one of which I was at last year when I went to NLCS last year, that being Peace Brewery on North Avenue. Now, this is a very heavy metal brewery, you could say. They've won a bunch of medals at GABF and World Beer Cup, and they just got another one at GABF a few weeks ago for an alt beer, which I had, and I thought it was awesome. Definitely deserved that medal. So congratulations to Peace. That was 2 years in a row for me, and let's make it 3. I wouldn't mind getting back out to Chicago next year NLCS when the Cubs are in it again. I also went to a new brewery, only been there about a year, called Hopewell Brewing, that in the Logan Square area of Chicago. Had a great time there. This is a cool place, very trendy, and that whole area is a trendy up-and-coming neighborhood. So look for more from Hopewell Brewing. And like I said, I'll be writing up a piece on all of this, summarizing the brewery visits to all of them. But thanks to all the Chicago breweries, had a great time in Chicago. All right, so let's talk about some news first of all. Last week, and I know this was a week ago, but I'm so excited about it, I'm going to say it again. Went to Rocky Water Brew Fest down there in Melbourne, Space Coast. Had a great time, and one of the very cool things about this fest, and why you should put it on your calendar for next fall, is that it's all Florida breweries. 2, they focus on the smaller Florida breweries, and you really get to talk to the brewers and the owners, which of course I did. So got to talk to a lot of guys, took a lot of pictures, met a new up-and-coming brewery. That's all in the recap story that I published on Monday, past Monday. So take a look at that, and you'll get familiar with some of the breweries if you don't know them. And like I said, put that on your calendar for next fall. It's a good one to go to. Intentionally kept small, and it's a good thing they do because it makes it nice and cozy. I even shot some video there with some people. I had no idea who they were, but that was a lot of fun too. So we had that going on. Also, yesterday, that being Friday, the 20th, Intuition in Jacksonville released cans of its State Line Peach IPA. Now, as you all know, Florida-Georgia weekend coming up next weekend. Going to talk about that a little bit. So Intuition released cans of this IPA made with peaches. So grab some of those before those cans are gone. Sounds really good, by the way. And also, I'll be mentioning this again, but Bold City Brewery with a big anniversary, 9 years, guys, in Jacksonville. Kind of the craft brewery that started it all, the first craft production brewery in Jacksonville. So big party out there today. We'll talk about that in a minute. So congratulations to all those guys over at Bold City. And let's see. Also, don't forget Porch Fest coming up on November 4th. I'm going to mention that again. I do have a preview story about that on brewnymph.com. So check that out as well. And in other news, also at Intuition, the Irma IPA, which was started by Green Bench out in St. Pete, is coming to Jacksonville. So a few of the Jacksonville area breweries got together, collaborated on that. You might have seen the post on that. They actually brewed it yesterday, so look for that in a couple of weeks and more on that developing story on the way. All right, let's talk about some events. First of all, how can you get a free beer from me today, okay? I want to buy you a free beer, and this is how you do it. First person to find me. Now, I'm going to be around in a few places today in Jacksonville. First person to find me wherever I'm at and come up to me and say, I read your story about, insert story here, on brewnymph.com. Be the first one to tell me that, and I will buy you a free beer where we are, okay? First person, limit to one, okay? So there you have it. That's all you got to do. Simple enough, right? So jump on brewnymph.com, find a story. There are over 200 of them. So find a story. Tell me that you read it on brewnymph.com, and I might even ask you a question or two to make sure you did. But anyway, do that. I'll buy you a free beer, first person. And by the way, sucking up helps. So tell me you love the story, you love reading the site, because hey, it's pretty good. It's your all definitive Florida beer source. Anyway, find me, tell me that, free beer for you, okay? All right, let's talk about some events that are going on over the weekend. This is Jacksonville and across Florida, because I cover events all over the state on brewnymph.com. 2 pages of events, right? One more local to Jacksonville, North Florida area, one more Florida. So here we go. Crooked Can is having a 3-day Oktoberfest festival at its location over there in the Orlando area. So that'll be going on all weekend. Check that out. I was there in August with the Florida Brewers Conference. In my story on Florida Brewers Conference, I included some photos and some impressions of Crooked Can. So check that out from August. Cool place there, by the way. All right, what else we got going on? That's 3 days. Like I mentioned, over in Jacksonville, we got a few things going on. We have the Bold City 9th anniversary. And yes, they are done with those renovations that the fire marshal, well, made them do. So they're done with that. All 3 bars will be open to accommodate the crowds. If you haven't been to the Bold City anniversary, you need to go. It is one hell of a party. All right? Everyone's going to be there. You might as well too. So congratulations to Bold City, okay? Story on brewnymph.com. Check out the preview. They're doing some raffles. Yes, they'll have the barrel-aged Dukes. I know a lot of people were looking for that. So check that out and get ready to have a great time over there today. Also, Wicked Barley with its Wicked Ween, okay, costume contest. Adults later tonight, kids later this afternoon, face painting, balloons, special food menu, lots of beer. And have you seen that beer list? I'm telling you, it's a killer beer list for Wicked Ween. So get your butt over to Wicked Barley and have some good Halloween time fun. Always good parties over there at Wicked Barley too. What else is going on today? If you want to learn how to make your own wine and beer, St. Augustine Brewing Solutions over on King Street in St. Augustine is doing its class today. You can learn how to make wine, you can learn how to make beer. Class is $10. All those supplies are included. So check those guys out over there on King Street. Oktoberfest and a 5K at European Street Cafe in Riverside. And that's always a great party. Oompa band, pretzels, food. You can get the hats if they got any left. Chicken dance. and stein holding competition. I got a stein back here somewhere. So that's always a lot of fun. I've been to that party a few times. Great time out there. Also, our friends down in Titusville, Playa Linda Brewing, with their Oktoberfest at the Bricks Project. That's their big production facility, and they will be releasing an Oktoberfest beer called Playa Fest. So if you're around Space Coast area, check out Playa Linda for the Oktoberfest celebration over there. Back in Jax, we've got the Oktoberfest 5 Points going on. German themed, you can get a boot, German food, more stein holding, music, the whole bit. So if you're around 5 Points in Jacksonville, check out another fun looking event, Oktoberfest. Up further north in the Jacksonville area, new beer release at Amelia Tavern in Fernandina. Don't know what that is, but check that one out. Back to the Beer Sphere events page, Windermere Craft Beer Festival in Windermere in Central Florida. A lot of Central Florida breweries and others going to be there. Sounds like a great time. And in St. Augustine, we've got the Spanish Wine Festival, which was rescheduled from a few weeks ago when that nasty badass Irma came through. So anyway, if you're around St. Augustine, all weekend long Spanish Wine Festival, check that out. Haunted Brewery at Anheuser-Busch up in Jax. I'm mentioning this because it sounds like a pretty great time. Zombies running around and the whole bit. So if you're up north, check that out. And another event that's going on this afternoon in Gainesville, which is not too far from here, the 13th annual Florida Bat Festival. Okay, kind of a nice segue to Halloween type stuff. What's cool about this is bats are very misunderstood, and the Bat Festival is looking to educate you folks about bats and how cool they are, and they do a lot of good things. And our friends out there in Gainesville, being the very conservation-minded folks that they are out there, they're pretty amazing what they do with all of those conservation and nature and wildlife type charities. All of those Gainesville breweries take a big part in that. So they will be having a beer garden at the Bat Festival at the Luby Bat Conservancy in Gainesville. That's going on this afternoon. It's family friendly, lots of family events. Sounds like a lot of fun out in Gainesville. Okay, I kind of like that bat. All right, what do we got going on? Sunday, of course, NFL is back. Jaguars play at Colts for the Jacksonville fans. We also have a Halloween bash going on at Dahlia's Poorhouse in Jacksonville. This is a benefit for charity, so get out there, do some beer Olympics and all kinds of other fun stuff. There's some team competitions. Check that out at Dahlia's. You know, she's got 85 or so taps of beer there. And I also did a Q&A with her back in March, I think it was, when I did this story for I Want a Buzz. So check that out if you haven't been there. Make sure you get there. And Sunday, the Spanish Wine Festival also going on. Sunday night, season premiere of The Walking Dead. I don't know if this is a good reason to bring back the bat, but season premiere of Walking Dead. I think a lot of TVs will be tuned to that Sunday night. So going on into the week, we have a beer and food pairing dinner at Intuition Ale Works in Jacksonville. We have tappings and takeovers. Again, these are all on brewniff.com. So make sure you look at these. You should actually do this every day because I update them throughout the day. Going into Wednesday, Pint Night at Engine 15 featuring Victory Brewing. Our friends over at Dahlia's with a beer and Halloween candy pairing. Ladies Night at Bottlenose, you get discounted wine there. Ladies Night Spotlight at Hyperion Brewing, and they feature a woman-owned business that they will have featured, and the ladies get $1 off those beers, or they're donating to breast cancer. Not sure if that's still going on, one or the other. Painting with a Twist at Southern Swells, trivia at Veterans United, trivia at Wicked Barley. That's all on Wednesday. Thursday, wrong page. Thursday, we start Florida Georgia weekend. There will be a Bold Treatment Thursday at Bold City Brewery, Ladies Night at Wicked Barley, Watercolor and Terrarium Workshop at Southern Swells, Beer and Donut Pairing at Veterans United, 99 bottles with Lagunitas at Brews and Dogs in St. Augustine. If you're working on your 99 bottles of beer card, so that you can get your name on that infamous wall over there. That would be a good night to do it. Also, get crafty for Deck the Chairs at Engine 15 Jacks Beach. You can make some Christmas ornaments. And there will also be special tapping Thursday at Engine 15 Jacks Beach. Friday, like I said, Florida Georgia weekend starts. Jacksonville Landing having a big party out there. And we'll get to some other ones that are going on Saturday. Other things going on next Friday. I don't know if you've been there, but Paradise Brewing out there in Clearwater, out on the Gulf Coast, is having its anniversary party. It's a haunted anniversary party, and these guys are making some really good beer out there. So if you're headed out to the Tampa area anytime soon, Clearwater, get out there and check out Paradise. I wrote about them after I made my first visit there, and that's on brewnymph.com as well. And we have a Red Cypress Brewing tasting at Total Wine Jacks, Halloween Brews and Booze party at Veterans United, and the grand opening of the beer garden at Hyperion Brewing in Jacks, which I mentioned before, over there in Springfield. So if you're around Springfield area next Friday night, October 27th, go check that out. It's a cool spot back there. Will be interesting to see what kind of changes they've done to that. Costume party with fall beers at Brews in Atlantic Beach, pumpkin carving contest at Engine 15 downtown. And I'm just going to mention this in passing because there's more on this on the way. But Walking Tree Brewery down in Vero Beach, they are doing a double bottle release this coming Friday, October 27th. And you might remember Walking Tree picked up a lot of medals down there at Best Florida Beer and also just snagged another one at GABF. And I've got a picture and a quote in there on my story from Rocky Water Brew Fest last Saturday. So good work to Walking Tree as always. Getting into next Saturday, because we look ahead here, okay? So if you're always looking for something to do ahead, get to brewnymph.com because I've got all kinds of things there. Florida Georgia weekend, like we said, watch parties at Intuition at Wicked Barley on Saturday. And in addition to that, our friends over at Pinklehead are having their anniversary party, Phobia Fest. Wear your costumes. They'll be tapping a bunch of new beers, music there, and they always have some great food. So that'll be next Saturday, the 28th. Put that on your calendars. Also, next Saturday, the 28th, Brew Hub down in Lakeland, Florida, off of I-4, with its 3rd anniversary party. And I was there a couple years ago for the first time, been there since. Story on brewnymph.com. Massive place, got a tour back there. The area where they control the whole brew house is like mission control, and they just picked up 2 gold medals at GABF. So if you're around Orlando to Tampa next Saturday the 28th, check out Brew Hub, and congratulations to those guys over there. We also have Brewfest Tallahassee going on next October 28th, Saturday. I've been to that fest a couple times, was a vendor there. That fest always sells out if it isn't already. It's a lot of fun. So for you folks out there in Tallahassee, have a great time at that fest. Indoor, out there at the Auto Museum, and that one's always just a really good time. 60s music at Ann O'Malley's, St. Augustine. That's a Halloween-themed party next Saturday the 28th. Name That Tune Halloween at Brews, Atlantic Beach. Halloween party and costume contest at Green Room in Jacks Beach. Halloween costume contest at Bottlenose Brewing in Jacks. And Ales from the Crypt Halloween party at Town Beer Company, also in Jacksonville. And costume party at Brews, Bartram Park. Also, just announced, Southern Swells will be doing new small batch releases. They'll be doing one of those next Saturday, October 28th. And if you're around the Jacks Beach area, go check out their new release. I know a lot of people will be looking forward to that. And we're going to wind it up by more Florida Georgia weekend going on Sunday. It always runs into Sunday because it's a big weekend, you know. And also on Sunday, got a couple of big events. The Right Whale Festival will be happening in Jacks Beach at the Seawalk Pavilion. Learn about the right whales and conservation efforts to help out those amazing animals. And to go along with that, Green Room Brewing will be releasing its Save the Whale Imperial Stout and releasing that in bottles. This is a great imperial stout, lots of chocolate, and I had it last year, loved it, loved it, loved it. So around Jack's Beach next Sunday, October 29th, look out for that. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Monster Mash and Dogween at Hyperion Brewing, that's also on Sunday the 29th. And in the Murray Hill area over in Edgewood, Jacksonville, there's a Murray Halloween. That also brings us real quick to Halloween itself. Kids eat free on Halloween at Wicked Barley. Kids eat free also at Seven Bridges Grill and Brewery in Jacksonville. And there will be a Furry Friends and Humans Halloween costume party at Atlantic Beach Brewing in Atlantic Beach. All right, that's it for what's going on this week. We do have some news looking into the future. Speaking of Atlantic Beach Brewing, they will be doing their first bottle release on Friday, November 3rd. That is a Cuban coffee inspired bottle release. So look out for that. And it just sounds amazing. So more to come on that. That'll be Friday, November 3rd. Also on Friday, November 3rd, Southern Swells with its first can releases of 2 beers on Friday, November 3rd. So check those guys out in Jack's Beach. More about that coming as well. And what else we have? We have a couple of beer dinners on the horizon. Engine 15, Beer versus Wine at Hobnob in Jacksonville. Get your tickets for that. It's on November 1st. Bold City Brewery with a beer dinner at Ruth's Chris in Ponte Vedra. That's on November 2nd. Get your tickets for that. Also mentioned this before, Florida FBG Fest is December 9th at Intuition. Get your tickets for that. Porch Fest on November 4th. I wrote up a preview story on that on brewniff.com. Take a look at that. For the first time, they're also doing a 5K with that. The maps are ready. You can get the maps of where all those bands are playing and walk around Springfield area, drink some beer from the beer gardens that'll be on site. Also, it's the start of Jack's Beer Week. Just about all the Jacksonville area breweries will be there. So there'll be 15 to 20 or so beers in that beer garden, and you can take that beer and walk around while you listen to the music everywhere. Coming up on November 10th is Brew at the Zoo at Jacksonville Zoo. It's sold out, but just so you know that's going on, don't sit on those tickets next year. Sells out in September, by the way. Collaboration beer was brewed at Intuition for Soured Society, which will be at the Porch Fest on November 4th. Also on November 4th, Crooked Rooster in McClenny has its first anniversary and beer launch, and Brewbus will be running a round trip between Main and 6 Brewing, which hopes to be open by then, and Crooked Rooster. So if you're in the Porch Fest area, you could take that shuttle to and from McClenny and Jack's. Intuition Ale Works, huge anniversary party, so huge they make a week out of it in November. Brewval Jack's, November 18th. And also in St. Augustine, the 3 million plus twinkly Nights of Lights will kick off on November 18th. Always a good time out there. That runs through January 31st. And then it's time for Happy New Year, and Beer Fest season starts in Florida. Always a great time. Look back at brewniff.com, a couple of beer fests I went to last year in January, and always a good time. Spring Beer Fest, pretty much on the heels of Fall Beer Fest season. That's it for this time, guys. Have a great week, and don't forget, if you want me to buy you a free beer today, just tell me you read it on brewniff.com. That's all for now. See you next week. Have a great week, everybody. And let's get a beer, Florida.